Hello, and welcome to the Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Each week, they bring you conversations with local Christian businesses and business owners. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to fine podcasts. The Experience Local is brought to you each week by wonderful sponsors.
10D Tech, delivering fast, friendly, and fully managed IT services for Oregon businesses. Call 541-243-7201 and online at 10dtech.com. Join Boson Hub in supporting Kicking Cancer, empowering individuals and their families to thrive in their cancer journey through action, support, and education. kicking-cancer.org. James Reed & Associates, specializing in comprehensive coverage for nonprofits, ministries, small businesses, and personal lines of coverage across the Pacific Northwest. JamesReedAgency.com or call 503-588-8229. Independent Merchant Brokers, innovative solutions for your payment processing needs. 877-460-4747 and on the web, independentmerchantbrokers.com. Discover Oregon Real Estate, statewide experts in luxury home sales, farm, ranch, commercial, business sales, and land developments. Call 541-250-1065 and visit them online at dore.llc.
And now, your hosts for the Experience Local, Russ and Scott.
And, well, it's N. Scott today on the Experience Local as the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, and we're broadcasting live here Monday morning, and we're here every week live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can learn more at local.theexperience.video and find out about all the programs we have. But Russ was able to go to Washington he rode the train up there to meet his son, and they had a big Super Bowl party, and he's on the train right now. Trains don't have great Wi-Fi or internet connections, so we're going solo me today, but I've got Wyatt King. We're going to be talking with him. Fourth generation family business there in Lebanon, Oregon, Linn County. And I'm excited to be able to talk to him because any business that survives from generation to generation is interesting and exciting to learn about. So Wyatt, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Experience Local.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you having me. Excited to be here today.
Yeah. So we had a little bit of a conversation beforehand, and we're going to talk about some more items around the business. Again, I want to remind people that you can go to local.theexperience.video and find this show and the other shows that Russ and I are doing. We've got The Experience with Russ and Scott live every Wednesday on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And that broadcasts at 7 a.m. Pacific time, 9 for those of us here in Texas. And then Russ has Marketing with Russ every Monday and Thursday, Russ Reels Thursday afternoon, and I have the Waco Experience, an American Story, which is every Saturday morning at 8:30 here in Texas. And it is a podcast everywhere. So find us wherever you listen to your fine, fabulous podcasts are out there, because we only talk to the most remarkable people on the planet like Wyatt. He's going to be a great example today. Thank you for joining us. Wyatt, let's get a little idea about what's going on. So it's RKI Insurance started in 1926. So
yes, sir.
Tell us what is going on with RKI. Tell us some of the origin here.
For sure. So, RKI Insurance was started by my great grandpa, Vern Reeves. He originally was a service shop kind of guy. He had tire sales, was a mechanic, had a few different shops, and one of his brothers was traveling in the Midwest and telegraphed over and said, "You got to get into this insurance thing. It's going like hotcakes." And so he started selling insurance out of the shop originally, and it really took off. And while he still maintained a couple of shops, insurance became really what he was known for. And when my grandpa, Roland King, came back from the war, he married Pat Reeves, and together they took over RKI. My grandpa wanted it to be his name, so that's when it became the Roland King in the RKI. And when my dad took over in '85, he just didn't like writing that out, so he shortened it to RKI, and that's what we've been ever since. And I took over just prior to the pandemic. My dad retired, and I started running the shop. And I'm excited that we're celebrating 100 years this year. And we're going to be changing the name slightly, keeping the RKI, but changing it on the background to Reeves King Incorporated once we can capture the continuity better. And this is a little bit trivial, but you know when people say like ATM machine or PIN number, I always hated saying RKI Insurance because it's your Roland King Insurance, but you got to say the insurance part, otherwise people don't know what you do. So we're going to switch up the name a little bit, celebrate our 100 years, and hopefully keep it going strong. You know, my kids tell me that they're excited for their turn at the steering wheel. We'll see if they're as excited about it, you know, in 15 years or so.
So tell us about your family. What have you got going on with your family?
Yeah, so I have a pretty big family. And so my wife, Megan, and I have 5 kids. And I did the family starter kit. So she had a couple from a previous relationship, and then we added 3 of our own. And so I have my wife and I, my oldest stepson, Max, who's 20 at the U of O. You know, go Ducks. And then my second stepson, Gray, also at the U of O, go Ducks. And then we have my bios. So Theo is 8, Thatcher is 6, just turned 6, and Rosie is 4.
Well, you got a couple of Oregon State Beavers in the wings, maybe there, hopefully.
Yep, and nothing against the Beavers. You know, my mom's a Beaver. On her side, we have a ton of people who went to OSU. Great school, love the extensions. I wish them the best, except for, as we were talking about, one day out of the year.
Right. You know, I love college rivalries. I just think that it's a lot of fun, good-natured fun. Right. As long as it's good natured, you got to rib each other. Right. I mean, that's part of the deal. Right. When when we go to the games, the Civil War games, and I see the Duck, I get to say, "Whoa, did you forget to do laundry? You only had your paint shirts to wear."
Yeah.
You got to pick on each other.
It's a good rivalry, and I love that both schools are pretty supportive of Oregon in general. You know, Lebanon recently had the big T-Mobile contest that we did really well at, and I loved that Benny the Beaver and some OSU athletes pitched in to help. You know, it took us longer to get U of O to jump in and help out, but the Beavs, right from the get-go, they jumped in, and at our big T-Mobile event, we had Benny the Beaver going around taking pictures with the kids and really pumping people up to vote for Lebanon. So it's all part of the same great state, right?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I love it. And I always remind the Ducks that they do live in the Beaver state. So, and we only have a beaver on the back of the flag there. Or is it the front of the flag? Maybe it's the front of the flag and we got the seal on the back.
There you go.
There we go. That's always good. So let's talk about the business. So insurance companies, many of us think we understand insurance. Until we talk to an expert, and then we find out that we can be schooled on some things. And then specifically what it means to be an independent insurance company, because we see lots of advertising for big companies, lots of cavemen and lizards rolling around, right? But let's talk about your company, RKI.
So RKI is what's called a service-driven agency model. And there's a couple of different pathways, and the service-driven model is not as in favor as it used to be. It's kind of a old school traditional method, but it's one that really focuses on retention. Whereas you have the sales model, which is more focused on numbers and getting people in, and maybe you lose some, but you're always moving on towards the next one. We're the service model, and so we really hang our hat on keeping our clients. And we have, I think, an 11-year average tenure of our clients here at RKI. We have generational accounts, ones where their grandparents were with us, they're with us, and their kids start to become drivers and leave the nest, and they join up the ranks of RKI insureds as well. And we're really proud of that. We love that we have clients still that have been with us all the way since my great grandpa Vern Reeves started the shop. Well, not started the shop, but while he was running it. And that's something that we take a lot of pride in and that we focus on. And so we are, I like to say, the barbecue of insurance. It's not going to be 5 minutes or less. I really dislike those commercials that are like, oh, you poor thing, you had to spend 10 minutes on your insurance. Like, these are complex financial contracts that protect you. They keep a bad day from being the worst day of your life. And a lot of people just get insurance because the bank makes them or the government makes them. And that's about the effort they take out of it. Like, I have to get this, so I went to the place and got it, and then I never want to look at it again. But we really take our time, go through the coverages, and it's amazing how many people don't know what all their insurance policy gets them. They think, this is something that I have to get, so I get it. And they don't realize the protection's built into the policy or how it works. And so we definitely take our time. I like to warn people that even though we've already done the underwriting and we've quoted it out and we're just doing the review and hopefully do business together part of the meeting, I still project 30 minutes, 45 minutes of policy to go through, because I want you to know what you're getting. You're not just handing me a check and then moving on. I'm trying to build a relationship. I view RKI as an important partner, whether it's your business, your nonprofit, or just protecting what you've worked so hard to build up. Protection is really important. These contracts cost a lot of money, and you should know what you're getting for them.
Yeah, I like being an informed consumer, right? And working with people that I trust. And that, I was thinking back with automotive work. And a friend of mine asked me who my car mechanic was. And so I told him, and he was a local guy, had a shop there on his property. And he asked me if he was cheap. And I said, probably not, but you can trust him. Which do you want?
Right. We have some advertising that's a little colorful, a little tongue-in-cheek, but it's a picture that we had at Pineway for a while that was toilet paper where you could see the hand through it. And we said, hey, you get what you pay for. Coverage is important.
I love humor in advertising. That's great. That's good. One of those things that I learned when I was in college, because I did get a finance degree and actually took an insurance class. And they were talking about those numbers, right? So there's whatever the liability and the total coverage and the medical, there's these different numbers that went out there, and they said, you're going to go out and get quoted, but they're going to give you the lowest coverage possible because all they want is to get you to sign the contract. But I learned get the highest rate, get the highest coverage you could get. Because if I pull out in front of a Mercedes convoy and 10 cars crash, that liability is not going to cover me on those low coverages. So let's talk a little bit about the specifics of some of the things that people need to know for their own insurance and for their family, and especially kids, because they're going to be swayed by some of this advertising and maybe not get the right type of coverage for what they need, especially around autos at home.
Well, if we were going to do a quick takeaway, I think I'd go back to what you just said about finding somebody that you trust, because insurance is just chock full of what they call credence qualities, where you have to know a bit about the industry to understand the quality of what you're purchasing or what you're signing up for. And it can be tough because there are a ton of terms, a ton of coverages. A lot of them sound like they're interchangeable, but they're not. And if you don't have somebody that you can trust to guide you through the process, you can end up paying for stuff you don't need, not paying for stuff that you should have had, and just having bad coverage in general. And having somebody that you trust that can quickly take a look and say, hey, well, this is probably valuable. This is maybe not too good of a fit for you. It reminds me, talking about mechanics, of my buddy Chris Vordestrass, who I'd highly recommend you get on the show. I trust him almost too much. And this is my embarrassing story of how much I trust this man. I was driving my wife's car home, and I go to turn into our driveway, and it catches, and it just won't turn. And so without stopping, without even popping the hood or anything, I just immediately abandon the turn, take it over to Chris Vordestrass's and say, hey, this isn't turning right. Help. And I'm walking back home, and I'm just seeing the dollar signs build up in my head, right? Before I had gotten 2 blocks, he calls and goes, hey, so weird thing, your fuse box cover fell out and was messing with the steering. It's fixed already. Come get it. Didn't charge me anything, just said, yeah, silly little thing. Glad to take care of it for you. And had I not been able to go to somebody that I trust, boy, howdy, they probably would have been seeing like the Maui Vacation coming down their parking lot, right? Because I don't know much about cars. I'm like the Jeff Fox where they type a mechanic. You pop the hood, you go, a lot of hot stuff. Better call my buddy who knows what he's doing. And insurance is super similar. Like if you don't know what you're talking about, which is most insurance clients, you can end up paying for a really expensive piece of paper that is the cheapest thing that gets your payment, gets you out the door, but it doesn't protect you as well as it could have for maybe 15% more cost at that. Because people think that if I'm going to double my coverage, I'm going to double my cost, right? Liability is a cheap add-on, and it's the most important thing in my book. Like, so if you're taking like the one quick takeaway other than, have a good agent, it's liability, liability, liability. Because your cars, your house, your boat, all that kind of stuff, you know what it's worth, right? You know how hard you had to work, how to save up or finance it, make it yours. If you don't insure it properly, you know what you're out, and short of the bank, no one's coming after you. Liability, it's what did you do to who? And we don't get to control that. So sometimes you're forced with a bad decision of, do I swerve away from traffic or into traffic to avoid the accident? You're making a gut call. You can end up in a really nasty situation really quick. And if you have that 15 minutes, like you poor thing only took 15 minutes to figure out your insurance, you can end up underinsured pretty quickly. So like the state of Oregon only requires $25,000 per person in automotive liability. That is nothing these days. If you're found to be responsible for somebody having to be life-flighted to OHSU, and that's 40, 50 grand just in the helicopter ride, meaning you're starting out the gate 20, 25 grand out of pocket before they've started treatment, gone through recovery. We're not talking about their lost wages or anything like that. So liability is a fairly dirt cheap coverage, especially if you have any kind of assets that you've built up. Make sure that you have good liability protection. There are what they call umbrella policies, super cheap cost per coverage wise. I like to say that they're the only umbrella an Oregonian should have. And yeah, just have good coverage. And if you're unsure about coverage, find somebody who's willing to sit down, really go through the coverages, fine tune them with you. Because at the end of the day, it's all about peace of mind. Like my job as an agent is not to like get you all doom and gloom, like, oh yeah, the sky's going to fall, your home is going to burn down. And it's not a big secret that most people's homes don't burn down. On the other hand, we all hear the sirens go by. Somebody's home is burning down every day. And so we want to protect you against the losses that can happen, the things that might keep you up in the middle of the night, and fine tune those coverages to make sure you're taken care of, that you can sleep well, knowing that if the worst does come about, you have a solid plan, you have good coverage, people to support you, so you can rest easy and know that you and your family are protected.
So we just have Vanessa making a comment. Umbrellas are great. It was one of those things I was going to mention, that we've always had that since my wife and I got married. And the umbrella insurance is very low cost to have that that additional coverage. There's also some different protections for liability from comments you might make online. So I would encourage people to talk to their agent, and maybe today on the Experience Local live with Russ and Scott, although Russ is on the train and you're stuck with just Scott. We've got Wyatt King from RKI celebrating 100 years in the insurance business, 4th generation business. I want to talk about community, because I know that from our conversation, this is a big part of it. It's not, you're not here just to make money. I mean, you got a family to support. You got a quiver full of kids. Congratulations. And even though you let them become ducks, that's all right. We can, we'll make an allowance with that. There is free will, right? God gave us free will. I remember my daughter when she was a teenager, I was moving around the back of her hair on the back of her neck, and she was saying, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm looking for the free will switch. I'm sure God put one here that I can turn off for just a couple of years." But apparently, He has a sense of humor and didn't put a free will switch on the back.
Right.
So,
well, especially on daughters, right?
Father-daughter thing, right? You understand. Let's talk about the community. So, personal involvement, business. What are you guys doing, and why are these types of things important?
Well, something that you brought up while we were doing like the preheating of the conversation is that it's not work-life balance, it's integration. And I love that. Like, that is just such a great concept. And that's really how I try to go about life. Like, I work a lot with my kids doing fun things at the office. We do a weekly video called the RKI News, which is half real, half completely made up. And so we talk about local events that are going on that people might want to check out that weekend, or community causes that need their support. And then we also just make up some breaking news and use AI to like make pictures of it. Like this last week, the Norse gigantic serpent Jormungandr was attacking RKI, and we used Grok to make a picture where the snake was really attacking RKI. And my middle son Thatch and my daughter Rosie do survival tips, where Rosie's the monster and Thatch is like the survival expert. We will often come and have like a work day out at RKI where we pick up like leaves and whatnot, weed a little bit, and then the office treats them to lunch at one of their local favorite spots. Usually James Gang. We love James Gang here. And they love to get to help out and support the family business. And they get to see the business is what provides for so much of what we do in life, not just keeping the roof over our heads, but so many community opportunities. I'm really fortunate to have been nominated for a couple of community awards this go around. And it's funny, like RKI is nominated for something and I'm nominated for something. And it's really hard to separate like what is RKI's giving back and what is my or my team members giving back, because it's all part and parcel. I like to put a twist on the old Ray Kroc saying, like, take care of the customer and the customer will take care of you. Well, take care of your community and your community will take care of you. It's one of the things I love most about Lebanon is Lebanon really bands together. And I have my proof in the pudding. My buddy Dan Jenkins, he was not born here. He's a transplant. He was from California. We met in college. He met his wife, Jordan, who was a local Lebanite, and they ended up coming back here to Lebanon to raise their family. And they had just about the worst thing that you can have happen, in that their girl got cancer of a pretty significant variety. And to see how Lebanon came together to support the Jenkins, because they were part of Lebanon. And yeah, he wasn't born here, but he moved here to be part of Lebanon. He got involved in the community. And when something happened to his family, Lebanon stood up and helped them get through it. And to me, that's what community is all about. People say it takes a village, but you have to go build that village. And we're lucky here in Lebanon because like the bones are already there. We got a good community. The only real condition is be a part of it. Jump in, join in, help push the community forward, and it'll be there when you need it. And like I've said, I've seen it happen in my own life. And when we talk about community, I don't know how people do it without community, honestly.
Well, I hear you, and I'm thinking you've got a great bumper sticker there. Take care of your community, and your community will take care of you. That's something that we can all take to heart. And we get to define our community, whether it's the geography or maybe it's where we have an affiliation with people that maybe transcends the geographies, where you have just a common interest. And so we like to talk about how you integrate your faith into your life, into the business, into the family. So talk about how faith drives what you do.
Well, one of the realizations that I've come to recently, maybe in the past 3 or 4 years, is when people say give it up to God, it's not some pious like show of your faith. It's honestly a life hack. Give it up to God because there are too many things to figure out, too many open ended questions, too many different competing balances. And when you give it up to the supreme being, the one that has shaped everything, it just kind of clears up those deliberations and those questions like, well, what's the right thing to do? Well, what would God have me do? So my faith is very important to me, but recently it's just been my life hack of, man, there are so many options, so many different challenges or opportunities I could go after. Where do I start down? What do I put my energy towards? Giving it up to God is just the life hack to clear away a lot of the clutter in your mind and to make the path in front of you clear. So that's one big takeaway that I'd recommend that everybody like adopt is give it up to God, not because it's a religious sacrifice, as it were, but because it is the clearest North Star that you could ask for. And once you do that, it makes so much of navigating your life just easier, simpler, less mental load. Just what would God have me do? And it works out. Like that's the fun thing. I've never been bit in the keister giving it up to God. Like the path always in the long run works out for the best.
Having that guiding morality is important. And in business, there are a lot of opportunities where there's some ambiguous decisions to be made. And what do you base whether you go left or right on that?
Right. So one of the challenges in insurance is I have a fiduciary duty, not to my clients, but to the carriers. And so per contract and with how the laws of the land are set up, my duty is to my carriers fiduciarily. But at the same time, my clients are my friends and my neighbors. They're the ones who pay the carriers the money that get my commission. And so you have this dichotomy of I have the stronger legal obligation to the carrier. I have a stronger affinity and moral obligation to my clients. There's often a time where you have to pick who am I going to err on the side of? And again, being able to say, what would God have me do? You know, what is the right path for honoring my creator? It's a life hack. It makes it so much easier than trying to put all that on your own shoulders.
Well, we've got Wyatt King here from RKI Insurance. So I love that you're going to be rebranding because I'm also one of those. The PIN number is kind of a everyone's got a pet peeve. So congratulations on 100 years in business, celebrating this year. As we wind down, it has been just so much fun, such a pleasure to speak with you today, Wyatt. Talking about business and family and faith. Wind us up with some things that you want people to take away from this and apply to their life, starting today and this week, and just provide some inspiration for folks.
So like Scott introduced me to the concept of work-life integration, that is my advice to everybody, is to take up that pledge and go after it, because there is too much in life to have a work bucket, a life bucket, a friends and family bucket. Bring them all together. Like I love growing up in Lebanon, now raising my own family in Lebanon, getting to take them to community events like the Optimist, now Lebanon Oregon Legacy Club, or chamber events, getting to go with my friends to volunteer. Like double dip, folks. Like the world is just chock full of opportunities. You'll never be able to do them all, but you can do a lot if you combine your buckets. So integrate your work, your friends, your family. Get out there and enjoy your life. It is ready for you.
And Wyatt, how do people get a hold of you?
So, I mean, we've been here since 1926. So if you're in Lebanon, it's pretty easy to find us. We're at the Y in Lebanon. You can find me on Fridays at the football field during football season, grilling burgers and dogs. Find me at the Lebanon Oregon Legacy Club at chamber events. Yeah, and on Facebook. If you are digital in Lebanon, you know that I'm a loudmouth on Facebook, so I'm pretty easy to find there.
Well, there we go. And they can go to the website, rkiinc.com, and learn more about the history of the company. So again, thanks for joining today on the Experience Local Believers in Business. It's been so much fun talking with you today. And we're just going to wind up and tell everybody we're here every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Listen to us on AM 790 KWIL and 1430 KYKN. And with that, we're going to say goodbye for today, Wyatt.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
Thank you for tuning in to the Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to fine podcasts. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Experience Local with Russ and Scott.